Have you ever felt just a significant amount of anxiety as you spend money in your business? Like you get a big invoice for something and you delay paying it, or, in order to grow, you're going to need to hire another person or spend money on an ad or infrastructure or a new vehicle or whatever it is. And it terrifies you and it creates a lot of anxiety. Well, welcome to my world. Welcome to I could be dramatic and say the last 4.5 years of my life, but especially the last 6 months. And so in this video, I'm going to break down some of the money that we've been spending at Franchise Empire and just what it's like growing and scaling this business. But if you're new here, not familiar, my name is Tariq Johnson. I'm the CEO and founder of a company called Franchise Empire, where we help people find, vet, and acquire franchises. And you might be wondering, why am I making this type of video? Well, I'm just tired of all of the other type of videos that are out there on YouTube, just people basically showing their highlight reels. I want to know what happens week to week. I'm trying to make content that I think would be interesting. As someone who's growing and scaling a business, right? What decisions do you make week to week? How do you feel as you're making those decisions? So am I alone? And I'm going to jump into this. I think this is going to be really fascinating. I'm going to share some of the things that I've spent money on this last week, payroll, different things that we're doing. But my goal with this company is to build a self-sustaining business and company that really can operate without me and produce significant cash flow. I remember I did this thing called Lifebook, very powerful. They have you create a primary goal. My primary goal for a long time has been able to build a business that can produce $1 million a year in profits, 7 figures a year in profits. Ladies and gentlemen, far away from that at the moment, very far away, but I feel confident I will get there. Maybe you have a goal like that, right? Maybe you have a goal with your business that you want to get to a certain level and you're pretty far away. And it's man, it feels like it's going to be I feel like the gap is so big. It's so wide between where I am now and where it is that I want to be. I know the feeling. And my goal here is to build a company that has enterprise value of $25 million, meaning that if one day I decided, hey, I want to retire and I want to sell this business and exit, that I'd be able to sell the business for $25 million. That's the long-term goal. 5, 10, 15, 20 years, whatever it is. Who knows, right? Maybe that's not your goal. Maybe you just want to build a business that has a lot of cash flow. If that's the case, you're going to be making very different decisions than the type of decisions that I've been making in this business. So let me give you a little bit of a reference point before I dive into some of these expenses. So of kind of how far we've come. 2021, I started this business, just me, my phone, and that was it. I did everything, right? Did everything in the business, made the videos or scripted the videos, recorded my own videos on my phone, set the phone camera up, edited my own videos, uploaded them onto YouTube, created my website on Wix, my little janky website, just everything. Got my opt-in created to generate leads, did the sales, did the service, did the fulfillment, everything. And in 2021, when I started this business, that first year, 2021, we did $225,000 in sales. 2022 did $470,000 in sales. So that's significant growth, right? That's 100% growth. And I definitely, this video is not going to be all about me building the team and how our products and services evolved, the types of how we shifted our products and services, right, over the years, who I hired at what points. I'm going to be making videos about those things. Because for me, I would think that's interesting. I would love to know if one day, God willing, if I get there and we go, we look back and go, holy crap, Franchise Empire is now a $25 million company, whatever, we're doing $10 million a year in revenue, at least $1 million a year profit. Yeah, cool. I could start making videos then talking about how I grew the company, but I think it would be so much more interesting to be hey, my goal is to get this company to over 8 figures in revenue, over 7 figures in profit, and $25 million of enterprise value. Join me on this journey as I build this company and make videos every week of just pulling the curtain back on what's going on, the highs, the lows, the challenges, just inviting you in. So I have no idea If people are going to like this style of content, if you do, let me know. Subscribe, hit the like button, comment, whatever, if you can relate to this. And by the way, I feel a significant amount of anxiety in making videos like this because it just feels too personal. It's like, man, am I really going to let people in? Am I really going to let you in this level of depth? Do I want all my information out there like that? Part of me says no. I feel maybe you've had this experience before where you feel called to do something, whatever your beliefs are, God, spiritual, universe, whatever. I have a strong faith in God, and it's just, this is on my heart, so I want to share it. But all right, so 2021, we did 225,000. You might be able to tell by my content and the less scripted content that I'm probably quite ADD. But again, if you want to be here for some of the other videos that I make around scaling my team and all of the nitty gritty, then make sure you subscribe because I'm going to make so many more videos like this. All right, so 2021, $225,000 in sales. 2022, $470,000 in sales. 2023, $770,000 in sales. So that was what, like 60% growth. And then 2024, $970,000 in sales is what we did last year. The goal was to do over 2 million last year. We fell way, way short. But also last year, what happened, stick around. I'll make a whole other video on the pivot that we made last year. Was significant, pretty much changed the entire business model. So, and you may relate to the feeling like you're taking one step forward, 2 steps back, or 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I've been there. I'm still there. But from 778,000 in 2023 to 970,000 in 2024, it felt like a loss. With where my goals were, it felt like I just came up so short. All I could think about was the progress that we were not making. But if you watched any of my recent stuff, I talk about the gap and the gain. It's a great book. You should read it, and how most entrepreneurs think about the gap, where they haven't come instead of the progress that they've made. Hey, so I recently put together a list of 5 low-cost franchises that make $1 million or more. If you want to see that list, then click the link below in the description or go to franchiseempire.com/low cost. Let's get back to the episode. Let's talk about expenses in the financial roller coaster. So today's June 18th, Wednesday, June 18th. So let's just cover over about the last week or so the expenses for the business, some of the expenses. And we're in scale mode, right? So we're in scale mode. Again, my goals. So my goal is to build a self-sustaining company. So that means hiring great people, and spending money to invest in the infrastructure of the business. Guys, like, this is why companies raise money. They raise millions of dollars. Companies go public because scaling and growing is expensive. It takes a tremendous amount of capital. I'm bootstrapping all of this. I've bootstrapped all of this from day one with Franchise Empire, and I've been very conservative financially. So part of why I feel comfortable in making aggressive moves is I've definitely kept a nice stash in the business so that I can make some of these moves. And I'm putting the pedal to the floor. And I will tell you, it's scary. You're gonna have times in your business where it's time to invest. It's time to pull the trigger on some sort of expense, and you're gonna sit there with this feeling of anxiety and this knot in your stomach, like, should I do this? You know how many times I've delayed paying invoices? Like, I don't pay them late, but it's like I just avoid that email for a day or two, trying to rid myself of that, by the way. All right, so let's see. So you can see here that we run a bi-weekly payroll. So our payroll that came out on June 11th, it was for $22,700 was the payroll amount. That was just for payroll, $22,700. So that's bi-weekly, right? So you do the math, that's about $45,000 a month in payroll, and it's going to get higher because we just hired a really key person in our business, and it's not cheap. The person's going to get paid well, and it's an expensive hire relative for us. So that's going back a week ago already, $22,700. Now keep in mind, I recently made a video. I don't know what sequence these things are going to go live in, but I made a video about how in May I basically had a $50,000 loss in the business because we had our lowest sales month in a long time. Yeah, $50,000 loss. $1,000 in the month of May. That was the first time haven't taken losses. I mean, I've been profitable every year. Since 2021, the profit margin has gradually gone lower and lower and lower just because I'm, investing in the business. I'm okay with that. And it's been intentional. And May was just kind of an anomaly. We had our lowest revenue producing month in, I can't even remember, such a long time. But we had a ton of stuff in the pipeline. So as an example, in the month of May, I think we did around $45,000 in revenue. Lowest we've done in a long time. Just to give you an idea, actually over the last week, we've collected 148 in the last week. Just shows the financial roller coaster. And like in my mind, as that's happening, it's hard not to react emotionally, right? When you start to see your bank account balance have swings of $40,000-$50,000, right? When you're running payroll for $23,000, you got your credit card bill due. I think I'm gonna have to log back in here. Nope, it's still open. Let me give you some insight into like some of the credit card bills of what this looks like of scaling. Okay, so let's share my screen, and then I'll go over some of the expenses. So as you can see, I pay the business credit card off every month. But as you can see, the total balance on my Amex right now is $71,000. So crazy to even see this. The current statement balance is $33,413.44, which is due in 2 days. So one of the things that I do, by the way, this helped me to be able to manage my emotions more around the financial side and just plan for cash flow and understand where things are. As soon as my statement comes out, right? So this statement would have came out like May 27th, basically saying, hey, your statement balance is 33 grand. I take that money out of the main operating checking account and I put it in a different checking account for the business. So that way it's separated and then the statement balance gets paid from that other account. And that's the only thing that comes out of that account. So I'm constantly just moving it aside. So I know, hey, we have the business credit card paid off for the month. I don't carry any debt month to month. We literally paid off every month, but it's there. And then I know how much realistically I actually have in my business account, for operating purposes. So like this money, 2 days from now, it'll come out of one of the accounts. So let's look at some of these things that I've been spending money on. And this is unique again, because I've been making some big moves, some big decisive moves. All right, as an example, fast signs. I just bought a new sign for the office. These are some things that I've been wanting to do for years, and I'm finally kind of like, excuse my language, having the balls to do it and just kind of pull it off and prioritizing it really. But I'm getting a new sign for the wall in our office. When you first walk into the office, the franchise empire and the logo, it's gonna look super epic. Really pumped about it. That's with the sign, installation, tax, it's like $1,800. So I had to put the 50% down deposit. I'm flying one of our team members in, another team member is traveling up. So there's going to be, flight costs, hotel costs, all those things, right, that aren't even reflected here yet. But we're doing 2 days of recording with our team, recording content with our head of brokerage, one of our other franchise brokers. This will all go on the Franchise Empire YouTube channel because we've been separating out and really start to be intentional. Again, in the spirit of building a self-sustaining company, we got to separate Tariq, my name, and the Franchise Empire brand. So that's part of what I've been on the journey of doing for the last 1.5 2 years now. Everything just used to be my name. The website was my name. That's where the website that people went to. But now we have this whole brand and this team. I've been really intentional about not making it about me anymore and building an actual brand. Because you can't exit something if it's just your name. Right? If it's just your name too, everyone wants you. So you got to be able to make sure you put yourself in a position and you're making moves for the long term. So that's what we've been doing. Team members coming in. And so I hired a photographer to do headshots and he's going to do some other photography while we record. Our team's going to be the one doing the recording. Thank goodness. Because if we were to have to hire a videographer, that would be I'm sure super expensive. So I'm paying for headshots for all of the team members that are there. And some could argue like, hey, Tariq, you don't need to do that. You don't need to pay for headshots for everyone. And we could have just had our in-house person take pictures. But it's like, headshots are important. And the difference between just headshots and like professional dialed in touched up headshots are significant. And so one of the things we're focusing on is just elevating like our standard. You know how you can tell businesses where the brand looks janky or it doesn't look well put together versus brands that do? when you can tell, you're like, oh wow, this must be a huge company. You find out it's not. It's because their brand is dialed in. They've done a really good job with their branding, their marketing, etc. So we're working on just really elevating all of those things. So that's half. That's just the deposit down. I'm going to write a book. So I signed up for this package. It's like $50,000 for this company that's going to help me write the book, produce it, get it out, market it, all that stuff. So I did the payment plan with them. And in order to put it on my credit card, they charged me an extra $375. So that's that. That was a big move. That was an invoice that I definitely procrastinated paying. That's a significant amount of money. But the way that I look at that, and so you may have moments like this in your business, right? Where you're like, should I really do that project, spend the money on that thing? I have to, and it would be helpful for you. Here's how I think about this. What's the ROI? Okay, so I invest $50,000 into writing this book. What comes of that? In my mind, the ROI will be more than 10x. Once that book is written, we'll market through that book. We'll get new clients through that book. We'll add value. I'll do a whole podcast tour around that, getting the word out. There's all sorts of opportunities that can happen from there. We'll give them to our clients, right? So it will generate a lot of revenue and a lot of opportunities. So it's definitely an investment, but I believe it's going to be worth it. So we're already at, this is already a big week. I mean, between payroll, 22 grand. So we're already at 34, 35 grand, 36, 37. We spent 2 grand on Facebook ads this week. Actually, I meet with our director of marketing every week. I know he shared with me just yesterday our numbers of how much we spent on Facebook and Instagram ads. I think it was something like $3,500 for the week. We'll wind up spending, I think our budget this month is $18,000 on ads. It's a lot of money. Let's see, some Amazon stuff. I ordered a new camera. We already have 2 cameras, 2 digital cameras. Ordered a third one for this recording that we're going to do. We're going to, have an in-person podcast style. And so you need the different angles. You need the one wide angle that gets everyone. And then you need the angles going in that hone in directly in on the people. We had 2 cameras, but in order to really dial it in and dial in the quality, we needed a third. So that camera was the $844. And I ordered a bunch of random equipment, a new microphone, a new podcast stand, all those things. And there's some smaller expenses there. So that brings us back to, let's see, June 11th. Some of this is just random smaller stuff. There's Facebook again, $2,000. Pure Space is us renting out. I decided to rent out a studio for a day, for one of the days to do some of the recording there. Again, to elevate the branding and just the quality and the level of professionalism, where we always usually just record here at the office. So that's that. So what is that? If we tallied pretty much set all up, 2,000. We're not even going to get the little stuff. Let's just call that 2,500, right? Let's call that 1,000, 3,500. 5,500. Let's just round up to 6,000. So 18,000. Let's add it and round up another 2. So 20 grand here, just here. This is not even the business checking account. This is just my American Express credit card. And then we had the 22,000 for payroll. So that's it. That's what we've spent this week. And I will want to let you know that I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the inner anxiety. I've always had a bit of anxiety when it comes to just financial stuff and that kind of financial scarcity that kicks in. But, this is why it's helpful to be able to interact and connect with people that are ahead of you, because I've seen the way that, some of my friends that run really successful businesses and mentors, the investments that they make into the business and how it pays off. And so that's where I am. I know where we're going. I still need to be responsible in managing our cash flow. We have over 10 people on our team. I think 12 people on our team now. We've gone from 2 full-time employees 1 year ago to 8. That's not even including our full-time contractors. We have some international contractors. We have some part-time contractors. So these people are dependent upon me, for lack of a better term, to manage the business wisely from a financial perspective. I got to be able to make good decisions. Their livelihoods, their families depend on it. So there's a significant amount of pressure that comes with that. But for right now, I told you we had a great week this last week of money that we've collected. I don't make these decisions just winging it. Part of why I feel comfortable outlaying the cash is, number one, I believe that I'm going to get a return on investment on these things. It may not be overnight. Some of them I may not get the return on investment for 6 months, a year, or 2 years. But it's about balancing the spend, the money that you spend in your business, with when you think you're going to get a return on investment. And I know our pipeline, right? So I know how much money we have in accounts receivable, right? Meaning, like, you should always know what's in your accounts receivable, and you should have a process to make sure that you're collecting the money that is owed to you. Hey, if you've been thinking about buying a franchise, then go check out our Franchise Buyers Academy. It's going to give you everything you need to know about owning a money-making franchise in a one-stop shop, condensed place, all in order, so you can stop scouring the internet, stop researching things all over the place. It's going to save you a ton of time and a ton of money. So you can go get access to it at franchiseempire.com/FBA. Let's get back to the episode. My goodness, I remember hearing about someone very close to me that's a family member that had a business that was really booming during COVID. And they had a ton of accounts receivable that was late. And they weren't putting a strong emphasis on collecting that money from people. And it was just like, oof, like, it doesn't matter how much you bill. It matters how much you collect. So you better have a good process dialed in to be able to collect on the money that you're owed. But so between accounts receivable, which I monitor, as well as understanding what our team has in the pipeline of revenue opportunities that are going to close and be locked in, I have a pretty good baseline of that. So that's how I feel comfortable making some of these decisions. And then the combination of, like, what I see sitting, in the business bank account. But I can tell you right now I am not optimizing for a lot of profit. I'm not optimizing for that. I mean, I'm paying myself enough and plenty, and there's enough resources available. But I mean, I'm right now, the way I'm growing and scaling, I'm really optimizing for like 20 to 30% profit margin. And the last month or so, we've been running lower than that. I told you last month we lost 50 grand. So a lot lower. I think the month before that, we only did like 10 or 15% in profit on a pretty significant amount of revenue. But part of why I feel comfortable doing that is we have some things in the pipeline and some activity where some of it's going to be front loaded, the expenses, or the revenue is going to be backloaded. So I know that, I think so far this year, we've done, I think it was $660,000 in sales so far this year. Yeah, $660,000 so far collected. If I switch the accounting to a cash-based accrual. Anyways, from an accrual basis of how much sales we've actually booked, it's almost 800,000. But in terms of cash, we've collected 660, which is progress, right? So 660, we're not even halfway through. Let's call it 700 divided by 6. That means we're trending at basically $117,000 a month. If we annualize that, that's 1.4 million. But I feel pretty confident. I think this month will be our highest month. We should close at minimum at about 175, 180,000 in revenue. Depending upon how the chips fall, it could be over 200. That'll be our largest month. But as we get going towards the end of the year, and further into the year, we'll have months where we do 2, 3, 4. I think we'll probably have our first $400,000 month before the year is over. Maybe even a $500,000 month. That would be super exciting. So that's why I feel comfortable making these investments, because I'm projecting out based on our activity. I have all of our numbers reverse engineered. So I'm not just winging these decisions. And as we bring this video to a close, what helps me and what might help you in taking the emotion out of all this is knowing your numbers. If you know your numbers, it helps to remove the emotion out of making these decisions. I think that's probably your biggest takeaway as you go to grow your business. We know exactly how to hit our goals. We know exactly how many leads we need to generate. We know exactly what percentage of those leads and how many appointments we need to book. We know how many appointments need to show up. We know how many deals we need in the pipeline, how many deals need to close, how many individuals we need to help and introduce to franchises, what our average deal size needs to be. Like, I have all the numbers mapped out. So it's just a matter of just executing the playbook of getting to those numbers and trusting the process and trusting that the numbers play out. So that's what helps. And honestly, before I started making this video, I felt a heaviness and sense of anxiety as I was paying the rest of all these invoices. And just talking through this right here, just talking through it, it's like I just gave myself a coaching session as I was just delivering this. So anyways, again, if you like this style of video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe. I'm going to make more videos like this, just talking you through the process. If you feel like there's a way that I can improve these videos in terms of the format or style, let me know. I'm focused on the progress over perfection side of it right now. Like, I would love for it to be a little bit more organized, dialed in, structured. I know that if I spent the time to try to do that, that would hold me back, and it'd probably be 2 weeks before I made this video. So one of the ways that we've started to grow more and more and progress is people that scale things and grow really fast, they just start doing it and they dial it in later. So that's what I'm focused on right now. So let me know if you enjoyed this video. I appreciate you guys, and have an awesome rest of your day. Peace.